throughout the practice today. Honor your body, adapt, adjust based on what's going on for you. I just want to show you one little thing that we'll do later on in the practice, but you'll be in a reclined position, so just sometimes getting a preview of it can be a little better. So it'll be a little twisting action in the body. Arms will be a T position, and it'll be opening of one knee out. Then opposite arm is going to go over the, this arm shoulder is coming off of the ground. Then the knee is going to join, so I can slide a little bit deeper here into a twist. Then we'll come back to center, arm first, then leg, and then doing the same thing. So knee goes down, then arm, then the other knee joins for a deeper twist. So we'll play with that later on in the practice. All right, so to start out, take a comfortable seat, however that looks like for you in your own body, cross-legged seat. I'm going to use the diamond seat today with 2 blocks or books back behind. And take time to adjust, make any little fidgets, movements. Lengthen from the center of the body all the way to the sky. Open through your mouth, your jaw, your eyes. Relax the eyelids partway or completely closed. And take in a full deep breath in through your nose if congested through mouth. Let it go with an exhalation. And take a little bit of time here to arrive from your day so far, whatever else has been going on for you, whether it be in physical activity or mental activity. Honor the residual experience of being a person in the world, engaging with life. And take time to slowly settle into this moment, this time that you've carved out. And gently begin to shift awareness to your breath. And start to deepen your breath. Awake breath pattern, deeper inhalations. And take your time cultivating a 360-degree experience with the breath, 3-dimensional. And keep your facial muscles relaxed as you activate this fuller breath. And with your next full inhale, circle sweep your arms up to the sky in a sun breath, palms touch, and lower down with the exhale to heart center. Inhale to lift, palms rise back up to the sky, open wide in a circle, release your arms down. One more time, your own speed. Inhale, arms sweep up to the sky. Exhale, hands float down to heart center. Inhale, palms rise. With the exhalation, open your arms wide and down. Take your elbows in the bend, hands reconnect in front of your heart. Take a moment to create focus, direction for your time on your mat or in your space. What is it that you need for today that would support you? Think about a quality and essence that works for you. It might be peace or vitality, relaxation, connection, creativity, openness, perspective, compassion, kindness. What's 1 or 2 things that you could use more of in your life right now? And to acknowledge this, each other's company, gently bow head to center. And slowly release your spine long, eyes take on a little bit of light. Whatever seated pose you're in, extend your legs out in front to stretch out and relieve any tension from your knees. Press out through your toes. Make circles with your ankles, little gentle motions with your legs side to side. And from there, bend your knees, root into your sitting bones with in-breath. Expand the arms out to the right and left in a T position. With your exhalation, draw the hands into center, gradually round. Inhale again, open, expand. Exhale to draw in and round. A few more rounds. Move with your breath, your rhythm here. Final cycle here, mindful of your spine, round in. With the inhalation, expand out. Exhale, release your hands down by the side of your space. Take a supportive seat. You can always use an additional prop here to uplift your spinal column. Inhale to extend the arms high. Exhale, lean right side. Top arm up and over. Inhale, back through center. With exhale, same side. Continue to play with your movement and your breath here. Inhale back through middle space. With your exhalation, twist. Gentle motion to the right. Stay there with the arms and hands. Inhale, rotate your torso towards center. Exhale, revolve once again to the right. 2 more times. Next time you're at center, inhale to extend. Both arms rise to the sky. With exhalation, lower your left hand down, right arm up and over. Opposite sitting bone stays anchored. Inhale through to center. Exhale back to the arc. Move with your breath and rhythm here. Check in with your mind, your attention. If you're somewhere else drifting away, opportunity to come back to this moment of motion. When you're at center, next lift with an inhale, both arms to the sky. Exhale, revolve left. Honor your range of motion here. Keep the arms and hands in place. Move the torso with your breath in towards center. Exhale, gentle revolve. And final cycle, the twist. With inhale, return back through middle, both arms to the sky. With exhalation, open your arms to T position, palms face forward, pause. Inhale, draw your arms just a little back. With your exhalation, cross one arm under the other, hands to shoulders. Inhale, open. Exhale again, cross. A few more times in breath to expand. Exhale to cross. Notice what you're feeling here. There might be tightness in the shoulders or the front body, the pec muscles. Honoring if the range of the wrap is more limited on one side than another. Final time, whichever side you're on to wrap. Slowly release your arms back down by the side of your space. Come off of any seated prop. Take your legs back behind you. If you have blocks, have them at the front edge of your space. And with the inhalation, expand your right leg long behind you. Take an exhale, step your foot through. In between your hands, take your time. With an inhalation, curl your back toes, lift your back knee off of the ground, and take time, step up to the front edge of your mat, however long that journey takes you. Into a forward fold, micro bend in your knees, welcome here. And with an inhalation, lift and lengthen halfway up, L shape, long spine. Exhale to fold. Inhale again, lift and lengthen halfway up. This time with the exhale, bend the knee, shift the weight a little back behind. Inhale to root, leg straighten, arm circle up to the sky. Exhale, hands fold down to heart. Center, pause here. Draw your feet together. From there, bend your knees just a little bit here. Take both of your hands to the knees. Super mindful, small, little lubricating joint movements. Circles for a little bit of heat. Rotate in the opposite direction. And from there, rise back up. Feel free to keep the feet together, or you can re-separate feet more towards hip distance. Hands come onto your hips. Start to create a few circular motions here, one direction. And then circle in the opposite way. Stay with the breath. From here, pause. Gradually take your arms out in front. Bend through your left hand. So this is a little bit tricky, but let it be a play. Bend through your right elbow. Left hand comes to your right elbow. And from there, take your right hand to the inside of your left elbow eye. So it's these little circles. Then the left hand has to move in a circle forward on the inner elbow eye, then to the bony part on the outside. So again, the brain might be like, what's going on? You might pick this up really easily, or it might be a little bit more challenging, but let it be a play. So little circles moving, left hand up and around, right hand is going in the little square space. And then gradually switch this up, right hand to your left elbow, moving inside the square space. Now the right hand is doing this little circular motion. Stay with the breath. One more circle here. Release. Draw the shoulders up, back and down. A few circular motions here. Working with the various joint junctures. And from there, pause, shoulders at ease at your back body. Inhale to sweep arms to the sky. If your feet are together, separate them hip distance, or even a little wider. Exhale, bend your knees, shift the weight back, arms back behind. Inhale to extend and lift. Exhale, bend. Next exhale, when you sink down, inner leg stay strong, pause, chair pose, either the arms rest, hands to hips, or extend the arms out in front, relax to your head, your neck, building a little bit more fire here. If you feel any tension on your low spine, if your low back is not happy here, create just a little bit of a lengthening of the tail, and notice if that creates a shift. For more fire, sink a little bit more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale to lift back up through center. Exhale, open your arms, release hands by the side of your body. Take a gaze point to the earth to help you with balance. On inhalation, start to lift off of your heels, arms rise to the sky. With exhalation, lower back down. You can shift the weight back, lift your toes for a little bit of space and air. Reroot, inhale to rise back up. Exhale to shift back. Inhale to rise. You can stay in this up and down motion. That's going to build nice focus and heat. If you're wanting just a little bit more balance challenge sensation, next time you rise up, pause and sustain here. If you feel very steady, option to take your gaze center or to the sky to add a little bit more of a balance play. Acknowledge any turbulence in your ankles, calves, super mindful. One more inhale. On your exhale, lower your heels down, arms by the side of your body. Inhale to sweep, arms lengthen to the sky. With exhalation, hands flow through heart center, fold forward, right into a forward bend. Inhale to elongate halfway up. With exhalation, fold back down to the earth. Take your time. Step your right foot back behind you. Lower your back knee down to the earth. With the inhalation, rise up, torso and arms to the sky, knee down lunge. If your knee needs more support, double up your mat or use a blanket here. One more inhale. With the exhale, take your left hand onto your hip, gradually start to arc your torso to the left side of your space. You might feel more of a stretch on the right side of your body. Focus on length. With the inhale, rise back up through center space. Exhale, lower. Use your blocks or hands to the earth. Inhale to lift, back knee high. Take a moment, rock a little forward, back here. And from there, pause, sustain in the lunge here. Front knee in line with the ankle below. Back leg is buoyant, length from your hips to the top of your head. So building just a little bit more fire through your legs. Once again, check in with your focus, your attention. Where are you at? Not a big deal if you've drifted elsewhere, simply an opportunity to come back. One more inhale. On your exhale, step up front edge of your space, forward fold. Inhale to lift and lengthen halfway up, L shape. With the exhale, bend your knees, shift the weight back. Inhale to rise all the way up to standing. This time with the exhale, hands pause at heart center. Inhale to open, your arms expand out right to left. With exhale, take your left arm underneath of your right. Create a little wrap again for your shoulders. This time, make any little movements here on this side. And gently pause, release your arms down. Inhale to sweep, arms lift back up to the sky. Exhale, hinge and fold, forward bend. Inhale to lengthen, halfway rise, spine long. Exhale to fold back down to the ground. Take time, step your left foot back behind you, lower your back knee. Stable with the legs, support your knee down below. Inhale to lift up, arms can go as wide as you need for shoulder support. With an out breath, take your right hand to your right hip, start to arc your torso to the right side. You might feel a little stretch on the left side of your ribs, your side body. Stay with the breath. Inhale to lift back up through center, both arms elevate. Exhale to lower, frame your front foot. Inhale to rise back, knee high. With exhale, take your time, step up. Front edge of your space, forward fold. Inhale to elongate partway rise. With exhale, bend your knees, shift the weight back. Inhale to lift back up, through standing. With exhalation, lower your arms to heart center. Inhale to open, palms expand out, T position. With exhalation, balance it out opposite side, so opposite arm under the other arm here. Notice if this side feels tighter, more open, like any gentle motions through your shoulder girdle. And gradually pause, soften your arms by the side of your body. Find a gaze point to support you for balance. Once again here, with an inhalation, rise back up, heels lift off of the ground. This time with the exhalation, spin your ribs, so hips stay pretty steady, arms open into a gentle twist to the right side. Inhale, come back up through center. With the exhalation, lower your heels down. Take a moment, arms relax. Inhale, again, sweep the arms up to the sky. Lift your heels. With exhalation, rotate and twist, open to the left. Steady with the balance. Inhale to rise, arms back, up through center. Exhale, lower your heels down. Hands come to your hips this time. Shift the way back, lift your toes off of the ground. Give them a little break. Gradually reset both feet onto the earth. In breath to rise back up. Balance with exhalation, twist, open. If this is too much to sustain, you can always do it in movement, coming with the heels down, then up. This time, pause and sustain here for 3, 2, 1. In breath to lift, back through middle. Exhale, lower your heels down. Shift the weight back, lift the toes again. Little break. Reset your feet. Inhale, gaze strong for balance. Lift the arms, lift the heels. Out breath to twist left. Pause and sustain to your own degree. Back elbow can always bend to hand to sacrum. Sometimes that's more comfortable for the back shoulder. Focus the rotation on your torso more than the hips or arms. With an inhalation, rise back up through center, arms lift. Exhale to land back down. Heels shift back, toes lift for a little bit of freedom. Gradually reset your feet back down to the earth. In breath to sweep, arms rise to the sky. Exhale, hinge at your hips, fold forward, right into forward fold. Inhale to elongate halfway up. With the exhalation, fold back down to the ground. Take your time, step one foot back, one knee down, and the other foot, other knee for tabletop position. With your toes curled under, fingertips alive, create just a little bit of a scoop in your tail and a tiny dome through your mid and upper back. Keeping this in breath to lift, knees off of the ground. For less fire, you can always tap dance, knees down and back up. Otherwise, stay for a little bit of heat here. Balancing table. Inner arms also strong as if you were hugging a big ball or block. Deep breath. One more inhale. Exhale to lower your knees down to the ground. Uncurl your toes. Gradually take your arms out in front. Adjust your body here so hips will stay in line with your knees. Slowly release your torso and head down to the earth. If the head hangs and is not comfortable here, use a prop to support your forehead. Arms stay super engaged, fingertips press forward as your hips and sitting bones press back, but the hips stay in line with the knees below, so they're not actually moving. Keep active in this puppy stretch to invite length through your spine, your shoulders. Check in what you're feeling, what you're noticing. With an inhalation, gradually rise back up through tabletop position, reset. Fire up through your finger pads, curl your toes, little scoop and tail, dome the mid and the upper back. Just a little lift here. Inhale to release your knees off of the ground for 3, 2, 1. Give them a break. Exhale, lower back down. From there, in breath, to extend your right leg back behind you. Bend your back knee. Flatten your foot as best you can, as if you were holding your favorite tea or smoothie there. With the inhale, little lift. Exhale, little lower. Isolate through your glutes here. Inhale, little lift. Exhale, little lower. Squeeze through your hamstring, your glute to activate them. A few rounds. Especially moving slow, you might start to feel a little bit of heat there after a few moments. One more cycle here for a little lift. Pause and sustain. Active for 3, 2, 1. With an exhalation, release your knees down to the ground. Take an inhale. Draw your hands to your thighs. Circle sweep the arms all the way up to the sky. With the exhalation, interlace your hands. Little wrist circles. Letting go of any tension there. Unlace the finger starbursts with the hands. Return back down to the earth. If the wrists are tender, know that you can always use blocks for support here. With in breath again, curl your toes, little scoop of tail, dome in and upper back. Lift your knees just for a moment here, creating a little freedom for the knees. Slowly release, knees back down to the ground. Right toes either curled or uncurled. Inhale, lift your left leg back behind. With the exhale, bend your knee, foot flattens here as best you can, and start to pulse. Inhale, a little lift. Exhale, a lower. Move with your breath. As best you can, isolate and squeeze through your glute, your left hamstring. Final cycle here, super mindful of the low back. If there's any crunch on the low back, back off the height of your legs. Sustain here for a few cycles. Exhale to gently release. On an inhalation, lift your hands to your thighs, rise up once again, kneeling position, circle sweep the arms, interlace your hands opposite way from before. Again, little wrist circles down, create little starbursts. And gradually come back, tabletop position, step your knees a few inches back behind of your hips, strong in your arms. Inhale, deep breath. With the exhalation, bend at your elbows, come all the way down to the earth. Keep the legs hip distance apart. Draw the thumbs in line with your breastbone. Legs active here. Little scoop in the tail and squeeze through the glute muscles. With the inhale, lengthen forward, then up for cobra pose. Option to pulse out and in or pause and sustain. Stay with the breath a few rounds longer. Notice if your legs have softened. Keep the tops of the feet anchored. The center of the body engaged. One more breath. With the exhalation, lower back down, curl your toes. With an inhale, press back up right through tabletop position once again. Shift the weight of your hips to one side. Gradually extend your legs out in front. Stretch the legs long, press out through your toes. From here, pause with the feet together, toes active. Take your hands, turn them towards your sitting bones as best you can. The angle might vary here. And if your wrists are tender, you can use fists for this as well. Shoulders embrace with strength. Center of the body strong as you inhale, lift. Center of the body off of the earth, chin to sternum for inclined plane pose. If this is way too much, bend your knees, take a reverse table instead. This will give a different kind of access to the posture. If you're inclined plane, keep the body pretty level, shoulders in line with your hips. Sustaining for 3, 2, 1. Exhale to lower back down, rebend your knees, free up through your wrists, give them a little shake out. From there, hands replant, feet to the width of your mat or just wider in your space, and slowly start to windshield wiper side to side. Notice what's happening here to the inner line of your hip, inner line of your leg, sacrum, low back. Next, in breath at your own rhythm with the knees lifted. Pause here. Use the hands again back behind you for support. With the inhalation, lift one foot off of the ground, then the other foot. This might be enough right here. Check in if your low back is rounding. Root into your sitting bones. Even use the hands for support to help your spine stay long, inner legs strong. If you want another little layer of heat, take your hands to your hamstrings. Still lots of focus on length in your spine. One more inhale, upward boat pose. With the exhale, land back down. Take a moment here to pause. And from there, rejoin. Either hands support you or behind the hamstrings, lift your feet off of the ground. Lots of length in your spine. Next layer is the arms out in front. Still, my back is super long, so check in what is going to serve you best here in your own posture. One more inhalation. With the exhalation, lower your feet back down to the ground. Take any props that you need with you towards the back edge of your space. Use the strength of your core here. Slowly recline all the way down to the earth. Taking a moment. Feel, receive. Notice what's present in your body. And from here, final activating sequence. Bend your knees, feet come off of the ground. Cross your ankles, knees in line with your hips. Take your hands back behind of your head, interlaced. Inhale, deep breath on the earth. With your exhalation, lift your chin straight up to the sky. So it's a little core crunch, but avoiding a rounding in. So it's a straight lift skyward. Exhale, again, little lift. Inhale to lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale to lower. Exhale, lift. This time pause and sustain for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly release all the way down to the earth. Hug your knees into center. Take a moment to feel, hear what's activating in the abdominals. Check in back with your intention for the practice. So returning to a few qualities, one or two that you are calling in to your day, to your next couple of days, to this moment. And from there, take your hands back behind of your head once more. Inhale to lift your head off of the earth. With your exhalation, extend your right leg long. Take your right elbow towards your left knee. So it's a little bicycle kick. Inhale back through center. Knee returns with the exhalation. Left leg long, left elbow towards right knee. Inhale back through center. Exhale again. Inhale back through center. Exhale. One more time each side, but this time around, as you come towards the left, pause and sustain for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale through center. Exhale, opposite side. Pause for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly release back down to the earth, feet to the ground, arms long. Take a moment to feel and receive. And from this place, take your arms to T position, shoulder height. Inhale, full deep breath. And with your exhalation, maneuver your left knee open towards the left side. And gradually draw your right arm up and over all the way. So the right shoulder will come off of the earth. Let the right knee move onto the left knee, or in that direction, slide your right palm to your left palm. You might even go over for a little bit of lengthening. Inhale to rise back through center with the arm first, open. Then let the right knee follow, left knee follows, chin to neutral. Inhale, breath. Again, exhale, left leg opens down to the earth. Right arm moves across and over. Right knee follows. Slide right hand longer than the left, or just to your own range here. Noticing how this feels. In breath to open. Right arm, right knee, left knee follows to center, everything to neutral. One more time on this side. Take an in breath. Exhale to lower your left knee, right arm sweeps over, right knee follows, right palm follows. Inhale to rise. Right knee, right arm, then the left knee follows. Arms pause at T position, readjust yourself, neutral angles here. Inhale, breath. With the exhalation, open your right knee first and gradually use an inhale to lift your left arm up and over. Left knee starts to follow, left shoulder off of the earth, arms tracing one another here. Inhale to reverse, arm, leg, then right knee returns to center. 2 more times. Explore this at your own rhythm. Out breath for the right knee. In breath to get the left arm moving. Exhale for the gentle rotation, slide. Inhale, everything comes back up to center. One more time. And when you're open, facing the sky once more, pause here. And use an inhalation to bend your knees into center. Take your hands behind of your hamstrings, micro bend in the knee, welcome both knees. Feet point to the sky. Start to use a little arm strength, tug your legs down. And then keeping this, engage the toes back to the sky, creating a little stretch for the hamstrings. If you're not feeling much, start to draw your legs towards you. At the same time, press your hamstrings into your palms. So we're staying isometric and engaged in the stretch. Deep breathing into your back body. Use an out breath. Re-bend your knees back down to your mat. And take your right ankle to your left thigh. Figure 4. This might be a beautiful place to pause and feel your level of stretch. If you're not feeling enough, take your left foot off of the ground. Again, great place to pause. Or next layer, right hand through the window opening, left hand wraps behind your left hamstring. If that's not enough, take your hands interlaced on top of your left knee. Keep in mind or ensure that your sacrum and low back are staying anchored to the ground. If this is still not doing much for you in the stretch, start to use a little bit of arm strength to hug the legs more towards you, but at the same time, equally resist away from you. You'll feel that activated tension, but you'll still get a opening. Feel free to let the breath be softer here, but still using it, directing it to support you. Know that you can make any little micro movements for exploration here. One more inhale. With your exhale, gently release your feet back down to the ground. Take a moment to adjust the left ankle to right thigh. Notice what your body needs here on this side, honoring any diversity in the sides. Take any posture option that feels supportive for you here to get your optimal stretch. 3 more rounds of slow, connected breaths. Check in with your focus if your mind is in another place, another journey. Gentle kindness to invite it back. Final inhale. And use your exhaling breath to return your feet back down to the ground. Activate into your feet, the legs hip distance apart, arms long by the side of your body, with the arms anchored, shoulders pressed down. Use an inhale. Lift your hips and pelvis off of the earth. Squeeze your glutes here to protect the low spine for bridge pose. You can pulse out and back into the posture if this is too intense. Otherwise, sustain here just for a few moments to create some spaciousness in your back body. Final inhale here. Exhale, slow release. Hips return back down to the ground. And from there, hug your knees in to center. Take a full squeeze. Make any little rocks movements, right to left, forward, back. From this place, start to listen to your own wisdom and your own body. For the next few minutes, move in your own way, complete your practice, however that looks like for you. Notice what your body is calling for, what shape, what movement, or maybe it's a pause that is being asked for. To simply sit and be for a few moments. If you find that what would actually serve you best right now is a little bit of added time to rest, give yourself that gift and extend your legs long, cover up with any layers, cover your eyes coming into the final pose. Otherwise, stay in motion a little bit longer here. If you are still on your own exploration, take your time, no rush over the next 10 or so slow cycles of breath. Begin your journey towards the final posture of rest and relaxation. And as you settle into the support of the ground, allow your whole body to become heavy. Let yourself be held by the earth below. And release any final tension through your forehead, eyelids, ears, mouth, and jaw. And soften tension from your neck, shoulders, upper and lower arms, fingertips and palms. Release, holding from upper back, mid back, low back, and all of your ribs. Relax hips, upper and lower legs. And invite your ankles, tops of the feet, and the soles of your feet to fully unwind from any remaining tension. And full permission to simply be here and receive your practice. And I'll chime back in a little bit to guide you back out. And very gradually Become more aware of your own body as you rest. If you have more time in your day to stay here, feel free to do so. Otherwise, beginning to gently awaken through a little bit of motion through your limbs, facial muscles, breath present in the background. Use a soft inhalation to bring your knees into center. Roll over to one side or the other side in a fetal position. Pause there for a brief moment. And to acknowledge yourself, this posture of nurturance. Press one hand to the earth, rise up, take a seat. Invite elongation through your spinal column, eyes still soft. Feel free to use any prop here to create length for your lumbar spine. Once you've settled, bring the palms to touch in front of your heart center. Take a deep, full breath in through nose or mouth. Let that breath go. And to acknowledge the effects of your practice, the intention that you set, qualities you called in, each other's company. Gently bow your head to your own heart center. Celebrating your wisdom, your strength. Namaste.